Says I'm connected to town hall. Oh, David's there. Austin's there. Try it again, Lynn.
Ellen says she's trying to get in.
Nancy's there. I think Tony gave me other instructions, and I think he gave me the wrong ones.
Now,
Yeah, Great.
everybody.
All right, let me shut you off. Yeah. Hi, Lynn.
Hello.
All right. So
Oh, here we are.
You see it?
No, I can see it.
David, looks like you're having some problems.
David there?
David there?
So let me see. Am I getting feedback from everybody?
Hello, this is Ellen.
Hi, Ellen. How are you?
Hi, I'm all right. I can't log on to the Zoom. It says that there's another meeting in progress.
Try it again.
Oh, there we are. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. What happened was Tony gave me other instructions, and I guess I'm the host, and I have to be on the meeting before anybody else can get in,
I see.
or something like that.
Sound quality.
Doesn't it? Yeah, it's terrible.
There's a lot of reverb.
Yep.
I'm going to move upstairs to a better location to see if it's better.
What do you think this is? What do you think the problem is? All right, tell you what, I'm gonna mute myself, and let's see if that's.
So, Paul, you just muted yourself, and that definitely muted yourself. Nope.
No, Ellen, you were really not good too.
How does this sound, anyone?
You sound good.
Okay.
I'm gonna hang up and call back in.
Okay, Nancy, can you hear me? Yeah, but it doesn't sound very good, does it? No. Pain in the ass this is. I think if I log out, everybody else disappears because I'm the host. I don't know what to do.
All right. Is that any better? How's that sound quality?
Not good.
Yes? No?
No.
Oh dear.
I'm going to go out and try to come back in again.
Ellen, we haven't heard from you.
I'm back. It sounds like the problem didn't disappear while I was gone.
No, it seems to be a universal problem. Maybe what we should, does it sound like feedback to you, Ellen?
It sounds pretty bad. I guess I would recommend just restarting the Zoom. Do you have access to do that?
Well, I think if I log out, the whole thing disappears and I got to start all over again. Which is
Maybe we
fine.
should all log out and start over again.
You're much
It
improved
sounds
now,
good
though.
now. Sounds like it got better.
Yeah.
Yep.
It did
Dave
get-
Wilson muted.
Somebody... Dave Wilson, can you unmute so we can just test it?
Okay, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that something happened. Dave, mute yourself now, please. Thank you. All right. How does everybody else hear me?
Sounds like, yeah, you sound good now.
All right, David, you're, I think you're going to be on mute for a while, or you can try to call in on a cell phone.
Yeah, try and call in. That's what I do.
And then you can use the audio on the cell phone. See if that works. And there's a little hint of that again, but okay,
Okay,
I guess so.
so shall we try it?
Go for it, Lynn.
Thanks, everyone, for your patience. So I'm Lynn Spencer, Chairman of the Community Preservation Committee, calling this meeting to order. We're doing this by Zoom. We hope members of the public are able to, they certainly are invited to listen in and to offer questions and comments in the chat section of this Zoom. So let's start by a review of the minutes, which are on the screen. Thank
Yep.
you, Paul.
I
Thank
hope you can
Kristen.
see them. Okay, so there was only one thing that I wanted to point out. Lynn, do you want me to roll through this, or do we assume that everybody has already previewed the minutes as they were requested to do?
I was hoping they would have reviewed them,
Yeah.
but were you thinking that there were some things you wanted to point out?
No, just one thing.
Just one thing.
And that is, do you see this phrase at the end? Meeting minutes were prepared by Kristen Taylor, edited by Paul Spurn, and presented to the CPC meeting, and I substituted tonight's date for the original date. Kristen said that she, I think, would prefer to do this anonymously as essentially a ghost transcriber. So I was offering to make sure that she got the public credit that she deserves for the wonderful job she does. But she said, no, that's okay. And it would be simpler this way. And therefore, she wouldn't be concerned at all about any edits that were made.
Okay.
So that's the way I started it. And I am just going to revise it as that way.
Okay. Fine. Appreciate that. Were there other questions or comments or edits from the committee?
No, not from me. I think I've cleaned up a couple of things that were on my mind.
Yes, I could see your fine hand on, working through the transcript that Kristen had prepared. So to me, it was these were fine minutes. Anyone else?
Yeah, that's
This is
No, but
Austin. I'll
thank
make a
you,
motion to
Paul,
accept the
for-
minutes.
Oh, excellent, Austin. Can I have a second on that?
Nancy seconds.
Now you
Right.
beat me to it, Nancy.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to do, I'll do a roll call on this. Jim Dolan, are you here? No.
Okay.
Paul Spurn,
Yes.
Dave Wilson,
Raise your hand, Dave, if you're with us.
yep.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's it. That's a good raised hand, Dave. Austin,
Aye.
Dave, I'm afraid you have to mute yourself again. Thank you.
Ellen,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and I for me. So unanimous. Thanks very much, Paul.
Sure.
Right. So with that, I'd like to actually ask some wonderful soul, whether it's Paul or Ellen, to pull up the dashboard onto the grants dashboard onto the screen.
How do you like
Would that be the Excel sheet that you prepared? Oh, look at that. Look at you, Paul.
He's a
I'm all
Zoomer.
set.
He is
I've got everything all lined up.
okay. I actually did some edits on this, but we can edit it as
I
we're going
thought you
through.
would, but I looked for it. I
Well,
guess
I just sent it, 15 minutes ago. So,
okay.
in any event, um, committee, just to get some clarity on all of this, we have approximately, by my count, now maybe I'm optimistic, we have approximately the potential of 5 meetings in order to come to our recommendations. And that's assuming that we have, we have tonight's meeting, and then we have a meeting on February 21st, and then could potentially meet every Monday in the month of March. Can I just see the big smiles of enthusiasm for that idea?
Oh, you didn't see them? Okay.
No, I didn't see any of them. And why I'm saying this is that in order to work with FinCom and be able to get their input and involvement, and then get this written and to the printer by April 22nd, so it gets into the mail by May 6th, that would be our schedule. So I would like to see if we could do better than that, but that's potentially what I'm asking you to block out in terms of time. It occurred to me that one thing that might be good for us to think about is whether you could call it the buddy system might work with these reviews, in that, potentially each committee member could take 2 of these projects and, delve into them very carefully, visit with the applicants, and then report back to the committee with their findings and observations. That is perhaps not necessarily an alternative, but certainly could be accompanied by having applicants come in for brief presentations as well. But as we've experienced when we've had that in the past, that can chew up some pretty good time unless you've done some of the homework in advance.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that idea?
Individual committee members would have the option of communicating outside of meetings, both with one another or with you, Lynn, or with applicants, correct? There's no restriction on that. So a lot of
Right.
groundwork could be done outside of meetings.
Could be done outside of the meeting. And so that when we come into the meeting, it's perhaps a more streamlined conversation, or it would have actually identified issues that really need to be discussed with the applicant.
Yeah.
Which is the other potential.
I think it's a very good idea.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, I had some ideas on who might be assigned what, but that was starting with the assumption that Jim Dolan would be joining us, but I don't see him on the screen. I know that last meeting there were health issues in his family.
What were you thinking of for Jim, Lynn?
Well, I just thought since he was new to the committee that we would assign him the Historical Society and the Preservation Trust. Bang, right out the door. But here's what I was thinking. So I was thinking Jim would be good for the Historical Society and the Nahant Preservation Trust, both organizations that have been before us before. Paul, I was thinking about you for the Village Church and the Heritage Trail.
Okay, that's church. Oh, I see. You're going down the list. Good for
I'm
you.
really going down the list. Yep.
Excellent. Keep going.
9 Little Nahant Road. This one I did bump around a little bit, but 9 Little Nahant Road and the housing production I thought would be good for Dave Wilson as our housing authority representative.
Now, is there any conflict of interest there?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I think to the contrary. I just wanted to kind of run that through my head first.
Yeah. I think that these are not housing authority owned properties. So I think there's a little bit of a difference here. For the town hall and Green Lawn Cemetery, I was thinking that Austin would be a good candidate. No comment so far. Austin? Maybe he's not on the call yet.
He's muted. His name's there, so it's
Yeah,
something.
he said he was
Sorry,
traveling.
Lynn.
Here he is.
Yeah, I'm just transitioning into my house.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
can
knew
do town hall and Green Lawn. That's fine.
that would be great. And I knew you were, I was about to say, Austin's in a transition. He's traveling from Salem. The next ones I need to break up a little bit because of allied interest. So I thought perhaps that Ellen might be good for the playground proposal and Bailey's Hill.
It's 9 and 10.
That's fine with me.
And Nancy, that you would be good for the flagpole and, oh wait, did I get that screwed up? I think I just did. Ellen, you would be getting the playground and, oh gosh, I've got it mixed up. Bailey's Hill and Lodge Park.
Bailey's Hill, that's 10 and 11.
That's 10 and 11. And Nancy's on open space, so I was thinking it would be good to get somebody else, and that would be you, Ellen.
For 10 and 11,
Yeah,
Bailey's Hill and Lodge Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then Nancy, you get the flagpole and playground.
Playground is 9, I think.
Huh?
Yeah. 9 and 13.
Yeah.
Do you want to, should we just add a column here in this spreadsheet? Did we do that yet? Say
No,
who it's
but would you
assigned
like to do it?
Yeah, sure. I can take the one that you sent. So we
Yeah.
can just, I mean, if you want to.
Can I?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Can I recommend not adding a column, because the wider you make this thing, the more awkward it gets to show it. See if there's Lynn, is there a column where we could slip that name in? Excuse me, the names in underneath, even under the name of the applicant, and then,
Sure,
reviewer, something
Sure.
like that.
something like that. I think Ellen can figure out something very plausible.
Yes, but I didn't take notes on who was just assigned
I got
what.
it. I got it, Ellen. I'll send it to you.
You can
Okay.
also just use initials. That would save space too.
I mean, if you do a column,
Right.
it's just really for our notes. You can always hide the column or freeze panes and scroll past it,
Okay.
Yeah,
But whatever, it's fine.
That's right. You're in, right. That's grid 202, not 101. Okay.
okay. So, yeah, and so that would be, the idea is that everybody would sort of go out, do their homework. When we come back on the 21st, we report back. And this would also be, quite honestly, having to do with the completeness of the applications.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
think that that's an issue. I think there's some things that are being thrown up against the wall, and that compares with applications that have been carefully filled out. So that's why there is a column that deals with quality of the application and completeness of the application.
Lynn, what happened to item 12? Seems to have disappeared. Was there ever one?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Okay. The mysterious number 12.
Yeah, this can get fixed up. It was initially prepared very quickly, as you know, so, because we got
Just
these at
wondering.
4:45. And I did them very quickly, so. Can you just excuse me while I get some water because I am having trouble here?
Sure. Ellen, you ready? I'll give you the numbers.
Go for it. I'll just write them down.
Yep, JD is Jimmy Dolan, 1 and 2. Of course, he wasn't here to reject it, so that's contingent. PS is me, I'm 3 and 4. Dave Wilson is 5 and 6. Excuse me. Austin Antrim AA is 7-8. You are 10-11. And Nancy is 9-13.
I thought were there not 15?
Those other ones are bonds, Ellen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
there's,
just remember looking at the number of files.
yeah,
Right.
there's 3 bonds. There's the basically the 2 library bonds and the potential East Point bond.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, the other thing is that for the projection purposes here, I was using 60% as the match, but it really is solidly looking like it could be 95%. So,
Wow.
committee, we could decide to up our number, but I want to hear from you folks about that. Yeah, Paul, if you can scroll down
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah. Are those numbers big enough for you to see? I can make this bigger.
Bigger would be better.
There they go. Bigger it is.
Thank you.
Sure.
What do you mean by up the numbers, Lynn?
Increase the amount of funding, Nancy, so that the projected available funding was based on a 60% match from the state. So if we were to actually match it at a higher rate, right now it's being projected at 95%. We'd have more money to spend. And
Right.
that becomes part of our allocation.
So the
Okay.
number that goes up is projected available funding, and it would be higher than 370. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yep. So, potentially, given, our estimated surcharge at 230, it could be $460,000. It could be close to another $100,000.
Hmm.
And given we have $1.9 million worth of requests. Now, admittedly, one of them, the 9 Howe Road, is being projected at $1.1 million as an acquisition of that property. That there's a lot of stretching and reaching there. So now I did send a notice out, speaking of Howe Road, I sent a notice to the committee earlier today that there will be an opportunity to see that property tomorrow afternoon at 2:00. And I was hoping that Dave Wilson, representing housing, because that's one of the ideas that's being floated by Town Hall, and Austin might be able to attend. Austin, I think you said that you had some familiarity with that building.
Yes, I've been in that residence a number of times over the last 10 years, so I'm fairly familiar with the condition it's in. I'm happy to go tomorrow unless there's somebody else who has not seen it and we need to avoid a quorum.
Yeah, I have to be careful about a quorum, but I'm planning to view it. Anyone else with a hand up on that one?
I'd love to, but I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I would love to, but I can't go tomorrow.
I see Dave raising his hand, so that's great. Thank you, Dave. So, it sounds like it could be Austin, Lynn, and Dave.
Okay, I'll plan on being there, Lynn.
Okay, great. Let's do it. So in any event, rolling back to the money side of it, $1.1 million worth of this is the Howe estate. But, if we take that out of there, there's still $835,000 worth of requests. And so we're going to have to be pretty strategic in our evaluations and our grant making. Were there any questions or comments about the applications as they have been received, and if you've had a chance to review them?
I was
Hi.
bowled over by the East Point proposal and specifically using the Audubon Society to the Lodge Park proposal rather than the Audubon Society to assess it. I mean, that looks like a winner from the get-go.
A sort of corollary of that is, obviously, there was a lot of time taken in that preparation of that grant, and compared to some of the other ones which have no data backing them, it's just a little weird.
It's the inverse of what you'd expect, effort for dollars, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
the others were, I should say. I mean, this was terrific. I see some very responsible, thoughtful, and experienced hands behind this proposal.
Yeah. I think you're right. That's why I said earlier, there's some of these are incomplete, would be perhaps optimistic.
Lynn, I had a couple of questions. I don't know if you can answer them, and I don't want to skip around too much, so stop me if you start getting dizzy. But first of all, the preservation trust request for boat room doors. I thought it boiled down eventually to saying, well, we want to replace either one door or one set of doors, and we'll look at the others, and we have no idea what they need. Am I right about that? Did I read that correctly?
Well, any others who might want to comment on that?
Anybody know more about that one?
I will say that both sets of doors need to be one set of doors needs to be replaced. One set of doors needs pretty extensive remedial work, is my understanding. But that's precisely the reason why, the buddy should take a hard look at this, meet with the applicant, go to the site, put their eyes on it, because that's the best way of actually really, evaluating and having a conversation.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping Jim can do that.
And maybe Austin could give him a little help as well. Austin, I heard about your unique qualifications as
Sorry, Austin, I had to do it.
That's okay. I'm a bit out of practice there, but
Lynn,
yeah,
what
I'd
kind
be
of
happy
wood,
to help Jim if he needs help with that.
Lynn, what do you use for that kind of, excuse me, what kind of wood do you use for those doors? Do you know?
Probably mahogany
Uh-huh.
or Spanish cedar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I did have a couple of other thoughts or questions. Is it, what shall I say? Is it blasphemy to ask the Nahant Historical Society whether they really should find an independent source to tell us what really is the historic quality and importance of these documents?
Well, again, that's a good question for the dialogue with the maybe you should be doing the Historical Society, Paul.
No, no, I'm all right where I am. I'm good.
Okay, you are. I think that's a real question. I mean, it is $41,000 worth of conservation. And, it'd be good to take a look at the documents and understand them. Just to put it in context, with the town hall records, the early records that we helped with, that was probably
Yep.
$120,000 worth of
Right.
conservation.
Yeah.
So.
Right, but I mean, but there are legal requirements for municipal record keeping. And again, I don't know if all of those requirements were met, but that's different than a historical society, which you may think they pick and choose, but more likely they have what they've been given, you know? And so I was thinking that it might be a good idea for us to at least have a discussion with them about what the relative historical value of these documents is.
I think that's a valid point.
But aren't fire and police records municipal records?
Nancy, that's one of the things I think that could have been clearer in this application, exactly what those records are.
Yeah, I didn't see dates on them, and I asked Julie for that information because
Yeah.
school dates were there, but those other records, I couldn't find them. And so even though they're part of the Historic Society, they are being held onto by the Historic Society for the town. So they
Mhm.
are municipal records wherever they live.
Mhm.
So
Well, it
I
may
would like
be.
to know
Yeah,
the
exactly.
requirements of what has to be kept by a town.
This is Austin. I can speak very briefly to what they have in regard to fire department records. They have the original logbooks starting from about 1870 up until early 1900s of several different fire companies that were organized in Nahant, which is really the very beginning of the Nahant Fire Department. And then at some point in the 90s, there was a whole bunch of fire department records, logbooks, which log all the daily activities and incidents and everything that were thrown out and lost. So what the Historical Society has from the fire department is very much important historically for the town of Nahant.
Good. Thanks, Austin.
So, so I think it would be good to sort of delve into this. I'm hoping Jim can do it. If not, I'll volunteer and actually take a look at the documents and make sure that we have a clear understanding of their relationship to the town history, as well as whatever private materials that might be associated with them.
Okay, I have a question about the housing production plan.
Yep.
Who does it? Do they hire an independent consultant to do it?
Yeah, but well, Dave, I don't know if you can comment on this. But that is my understanding. Paul.
They want someone so they can hire a consultant to work. See money.
So I think that what we heard from Dave is that a consultant would be hired. This is a pretty critical item in my estimation first. And I spent years on the Military Housing Committee, but having a housing production plan is important to make sure that we have equity and inclusion in our community. All housing and housing and economic levels, but also so that we understand our position with regard to 40B and what that means.
So in that proposal, it said that the MAPC suggested that's what you do and how much it would cost and stuff, but they don't do that themselves. They just know about that. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Have we gotten any updates of any of the proposals? And the reason I'm asking about that is the proposal for the town hall stage curtain, which actually includes lighting and acoustic upgrades, none of which was costed in the application.
So Kristen Taylor did send out an application, but I sent it back because it didn't, it came in at the end of the day. It didn't include the supporting information. So I said, well, why don't you put these two things together
Right.
and then send it back to us?
Okay.
I also thought it was strange that there was this separate curtain and drapery for the windows from this like stage company. But then when you read the one about the audio improvements, they were also talking about doing it too. So that was a little duplication of that particular project that didn't seem right.
Yeah.
I think that what you were seeing was the the acoustical consultant is a consultant. They're not they're providing advice. So the advice was to get,
Okay.
curtains and stage curtains.
Yeah.
So I think that Tony or whoever put this together was following through on the advice. Oh, we should get some fabric in there to help with acoustical mitigation. So I hope that helps. And that the lighting portion of this is interesting because through I can't remember which energy program, but Town Hall is in the process of replacing all of their lighting with LED lighting. The company that comes in to sort of do this kind of supplying of fixtures came forward with some what I consider pretty inappropriate fixtures for Town Hall, like really inappropriate. And I said to Tony, no, you can't put these up.
Good.
You need to actually go to a company that knows about, specifying historically correct fixtures that also will provide adequate illumination
Yeah, right.
and the controls for it.
Right.
And so he brought in Available Light, which is a consulting firm in Salem. And, they would be then engaged in actually speccing the fixtures and making sure that the historical commission and the historical society and everybody else is happy with them. So anyway,
I really liked all those pictures of the lights. They looked
Yeah.
really fun.
yeah, no, I mean, and they're a great company. They were the company that we worked with at the Ellingwood Chapel, for instance.
Yeah.
Nancy. So they know what they're up to. Yeah. Other comments on the applications?
Hey, Lynn, this is Tony.
Yeah,
Can you guys hear me?
yep.
So we have on an annual basis, we have a certain amount of money in our budget for IT related stuff. So that ranges anywhere from, individual workstations to, we've used some of that money to help with the broadcasting equipment in the main hall. And I've asked Allison, if we could potentially use some of those funds for, upgrades to the audio equipment as suggested by the consultant. And she thinks we could. So, while even that lighting quote came in really high, and, I didn't want to blow the budget on this one, so to speak. So even 100 is a lot, I think, but if it were to go above that, I think we could maybe supplement some of the cost of this project by paying for the audio equipment, or at least a good portion of it, out of the general fund. So there's some we're accounting for some, maybe needing to supplement with some general fund dollars there.
Okay.
And, I just, for the record, when I saw the picture of those lights for the main hall, I knew you wouldn't like them, so I called you right away.
You sure did. And I trotted down to town hall and said, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I do appreciate that. Town hall is a beautiful building, but it should be, the fixtures really need to also work for people so they can see. In the same way that the sound system and the acoustical mitigation needs to work so people can hear. And that has been a problem. So other comments on applications from the group as they've read these?
I wanted to talk about the Johnson School one a little bit.
Yep.
I discussed it with Linda Pivacek because she's sort of the originator of the Heritage Trail, and I just wanted to know what she thought, and she was very happy with it. But both of us thought that maybe not only is it open space, but it's sort of passive recreation, because walking and bike riding are part of it. And I know the safety of the bicyclers was something that Kevin was also concerned about making this trail. So we just maybe thought it wasn't only open space, but maybe recreation. Just a thought.
Okay, good. And who's going to have that one? Oh, Paul, you're on that one.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll
just made
expect
a
you
note.
to have walked the Heritage Trail.
Oh,
Start to
exactly. I
finish.
want to do that. I have a question about that. That's using this, what do they call it? Degraded granite or something? Is that what they plan to put on? I know that the church plans to use that in the front, but I think they referred to the same material.
Did they?
I thought so, unless I got confused with the submissions.
In one place, they said clay and stone dust, but then I did think I saw granite somewhere else too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
what do you think? Wait, hold on. What do you think stone dust is?
stone dust
Obviously,
is a
granite.
kind. This is a right. This granite is a subset of it's a particular kind of stone dust.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, if you read, I don't know if you read the article that was included, but it seems like a wonder material. I can't believe it's as good as they say it is.
Yeah, well, it's the substitution for something called solidified earth too, which is,
Uh-huh.
chemically treated soils. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see it in the Heritage Trail one, but maybe I missed it. And I believe that some plan has been dropped off at Town Hall, a physical plan.
Oh, there is a plan. Okay.
So, I'll try to get a copy of that and get that around. Maybe if we can scan it and get it to you, it would be good.
Can you snow shovel any kind of stone dust? Is it possible to do that?
Not you. Oh, can you shovel it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's well compacted.
You can shovel the snow off it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can,
okay.
you'll mess it up a little bit, but it's not impossible. I mean, the Heritage Trail doesn't get shoveled, does it?
I wouldn't think so. I was thinking
No.
more of the church. That's my other
The church,
responsibility.
this church can be, you can shovel solidified earth and that kind of thing.
Mhm. Okay.
One of the things that I wondered about is how would we judge the playground equipment needs and what that is all about? And that's why I thought I'm going to ask, experts to be involved with that.
Well, I had the same thought, because I know the data from, and that's why I kind of sent it to you, from the survey, which a lot of this is sort of being based on. And, and we have talked in open space about how do you evaluate a playground? You don't take the odd comments that were submitted as others to make a whole proposal out of. And I sort of looked online, and obviously there's consultants for everything, but there are also ways that you can evaluate it kind of, there are guidelines and checklists and stuff. So totally, that's my feeling. Before anything got figured out, we need to know what really is the status of these playgrounds, according to current thinking. So I'm totally on that.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, how is the open space planning plan going?
So we are really doing great right now.
Oh, good.
We are behind the schedule that we had hoped for, but we will have we're working on the final section now, and then we're going to be planning another open forum, which maybe will be in March or maybe will be in April, but that will be the beginning of moving it forward and moving it out.
Great.
So yeah, it's come along very well.
That's
I
wonderful.
had a question about the playgrounds. Tony, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am.
Great. There was excuse me, a mention there that we lost a lot of trees in the Flash Road playground. What happened?
Like the Willow Road, the willow trees on Flash Road.
Yeah.
They were. I'm not really sure what the cause of why we lost all those trees. What the issue was there. It kind of happened before I came
Oh,
on. I
I
remember.
see.
So I
remember
know a little bit
playing-
about it because we got hot and bothered in swim about where did all these great trees go? We love those trees. And it turned out through the previous town manager that those trees age out, and that they were not in very good and safe shape, especially being around kids. So that was, I was told, the justification for many of them coming down.
Interesting. Well, can I just sort
And
of jump
Nancy,
a little? I'm sorry?
I was just gonna say Nancy knows too, with being involved in the different groups that she's involved with, that we've become a tree city. So our the emphasis that we're putting on as far as replanting trees goes around town has really been heightened over the last year. So that's not included. Tree planting isn't included in this application, but we've increased our tree budget, so to speak, in our general fund. So because of that Tree City declaration.
And that was where I was going to go next with, I know Nancy, and I've seen some of the correspondence about the idea of memorial trees honoring the Steves family, Ellen and her and Bob and Harriet. And I just think that there's, this would be a private subscription of people who want to donate. But it seems to me a wonderful thing to plant trees honoring people. Fewer benches, more trees.
Yeah. So, that leads us into a discussion of, master plans. So we have this master plan for the beach, and the beaches and stuff like that. And really, towns do master plans for trees, and they say they want so much of a canopy and they want this and that. So I would really like to see something thoughtful done, and not just planting trees wherever there's a space, like we stuck benches wherever there was a space. but that it should be part of a plan. I mean, the old guys had a plan and they planted one kind of tree everywhere, and they're not there anymore. But we know better now, and I'd love to see the town have like a master tree plan. And I've discussed that. We've discussed that in swim with the people in the Tree City and advisory board. So that's the way I think about it.
Well, I certainly would encourage that to take place. That seems like a fundable thing.
And sorry, this is Tony again. Similarly with this playground application, our plan would be, if it were to be funded, our plan wouldn't be to just go and buy a bunch of equipment. We would have, some sort of public process that we would work in consultation with the Open Space and Recreation Plan. Open Space and Recreation Committee, to, assess each playground and find out, what it needs, and, approach it with a good plan, with the funding backing that plan up. So, we figured, there's certainly a need there. We know that equipment, playground equipment is not cheap, and we have, 4 or 5 existing parks around town. So exactly how we would distribute those funds would be figured out later in a public process with that committee.
Okay.
And Tony, you weren't including the Short Beach playground, right? Because that's funded from something else in a previous grant.
Right.
I would include that the previous grant is for that one piece of equipment that we had to rip out of there because it rusted out. And so that 20 grand, I think it was, is for that
Right.
one piece of equipment. But I would lump that, that playground in with all the playgrounds when talking about, what new type of equipment we might want to feature in different locations.
Okay. So so that $24,000 grant is for one piece of playground equipment?
Yes.
It's a good one though, Lynn.
It's
And-
really
and
good.
Honestly,
It's
and
rust proof.
honestly, Lynn,
What?
that's not even enough. That's for a small setup. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how expensive this stuff is.
I don't know. See, I was one of those kids who played in the dirt and climbed trees. We didn't
Right.
have playground equipment.
I was going to suggest that we go to a junkyard and steal some tires and just pile them up.
Yeah, and now, come on, Paul, we can't do that.
Well, if we find out though that, by ourselves or with the help of somebody who knows about playgrounds and safety and et cetera, that we don't have enough money because this stuff is so outrageously expensive, we might think about what they did, in the early 200,000s and get like community people to be involved in it some way.
Yeah, the Come Swing With Me group, Nancy, you probably
Right.
remember that. They
Right.
did a terrific job
Right.
of raising money and contributing. So they were part of the matching situation. So I think with a dynamic plan, parents and grandparents and other people like me would be happy to say, yeah, kids should play and they should play safely and well.
Right.
I will never forget there was a big movement years ago to make, pressure treated lumber playgrounds. And it was they were very popular. They were, people were pitching in to build them, and they were all pressure treated lumber, and it was just not safe, quite honestly.
Toxic.
Yeah. So safety is an issue. Safety is an issue. Yeah, good comments. Other questions, general questions that might, guide some of the buddies as they're doing their work? Puzzling things, troubling things, interesting things? Okay.
I guess I have one more thing that's on my mind, which is ADA stuff.
Mhm.
You know, from the open space plan, that's a big thing we have to deal with in town, and we'll be doing like a general assessment. And then we've got to move on these things over time. You know, we get our plan approved by saying, yeah, we know these things are wrong and we really need to work on them. But as much as it gets, there is through all of these or many of these that stuff, that evaluation comes up, and I think it's something we have to start focusing on more.
And that would apply to playground equipment too.
Right, absolutely. And you know, even like, I think every single picnic table in our town is not ADA compliant. I mean, I know the guy we went around with, you know, pointed that out, you know, really well.
Yeah.
Often. So
Yeah.
it's a topic we've got to take by the horns and coming up.
And did that also, you know, everyone always thinks of physical access, but did your consultant also point out things that would be for other sensory issues? See, visual and so on?
We didn't get into that, but that's a very popular and, you know, forward-thinking way of looking at things these days. So we didn't talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, other general comments?
General comments, it was more two, one is a question and one is a comment. The question is about the East Point Audubon. I couldn't download that one, so if somebody could resend it to me so I could read it, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
The other thing I did that I thought might be helpful and so I'll redo the file once I get the application that somebody will hopefully send me. But I thought that rather than going through 15 PDFs, it might be easier if we just combine them all into one. So I did that with everything. I created one master PDF with all the applications, and I added page numbers and bookmarks.
Whoa,
So once
whoa,
I have,
wait,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, so once I get the other one, what I'll do is I'll put them in order of the spreadsheet. That's something that I didn't do. Make it easier for us to follow and just one line by line. So as soon as I get that, I can redo the spreadsheet, do page numberings, add the bookmarks, and send it out to the committee again.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
it was-
Absolutely
I
wonderful.
thought, for
Lodge-
me, it was helpful. Trying to manage 15 PDFs is challenging.
Yeah.
So,
Lodge Park is the one you need, Ellen?
is that the one that you were talking about with the Audubon and East
Lodge
Point?
Park. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably the one then.
All right, I'll send it to you.
One of
right
them,
now.
I couldn't open it and I couldn't convert it to a PDF. And when you were talking, I was double checking my PDF and I was like, it's not in here. And I remembered I got an error when I tried to convert one. So I'll try again with the file that you will resend to me, and I'll get back to you all in the next day or so.
And lastly, I hope that Kristen will have a chance to actually marry the two parts of the town hall grant application. So it's complete. And I sent that to her probably late in the day. She might have actually, I don't know what time she departs, but it probably was just before 4 o'clock. So probably should get
I'll
that.
make sure
done.
I'll make sure it gets done, Lynn.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Because you had a lot of good information in the first application, but not the right first part. So they just need to be married up.
Is there some of the applications, particularly many from town hall, had all this instructions, you know, the vocabulary,
Yes.
this and that, which made it really redundant, just going through these things we didn't need. Is there a way to ditch that part for us? Because some people didn't have them and some people did have them.
I can remove those pages.
Yes.
If I can go through it when I add them, so I'll consolidate all the applications into one PDF, and then I'll go through them and I'll see about removing a lot of those we don't need them to review the applications. As long as there's no content on them, I'm happy to go through, take a half hour and just manually remove those things as in the PDF. So they wouldn't be lost. The application would be complete as they submitted it, but in the thing that we review, we can take out that stuff. I can do that in the consolidated PDF that I send back. Sorry, my dogs are having a wrestling match over here.
Sounds like fun. Okay, that would be great, Ellen. That's a really to make this one fat PDF without the
Right.
redundant.
Ellen,
images.
I
Oh,
think
boy.
you should have that now.
Thanks, I'll double check.
Yeah, and it would be useful if you put them in sequence to follow the numeration that Lynn has given them. But
On
don't
the
look for,
spreadsheet, correct?
don't look for number 12. You won't
Yeah,
find.
you can change it. You can fix that, guys. Really, you don't have to have this.
Yeah, I'm going to put them in the order of the spreadsheet because that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And I did not do that now, so I don't want to send it out to you. It'd be all messed up.
Right.
And I just did it in the order that Kristen, who received them. So that's exactly how they were received at town hall. So.
Right. And maybe we can change flagbolt to number 12.
Yeah, maybe. I probably was thinking I shouldn't include number 13. That's the one that should have
That's
been
the one to leave
included.
out.
Yeah. So. Well, all right, folks. Other comments, questions, perplexities?
So do you think that people would have a schedule about how you wanted these presented? Like different weeks, there would be the probability of different things being presented, or should some things be presented in different order?
Nancy, what I'm hoping is that in the next 2 weeks, people will actually review these applications carefully, consult with the applicants, and actually physically see the properties, and then come back on the 21st with their thoughts and their thoughts. I am not necessarily at this point ready to schedule people coming in as yet, because if the applications are complete and you've looked at, the reviewer has looked at them carefully, it will actually really consolidate the review, the meeting schedule. So I'm not prepared to actually make those dates at this point. I'm actually would like to avoid some of them if possible.
Actually, wasn't clear with what I was saying. I was saying, are we going to present them in the order from one, chronologically, so that
Yes. That's the way I do it.
okay.
Because otherwise, and I've been doing it that way for years, that way it doesn't seem like we are prioritizing. We're simply,
Okay.
The order we get them in. So potential applicant hearing that may want to say, oh, I really want to get mine in early. So I'm at the head of the line.
So Lynn, I presume you're going to talk to Johnny, bring him up to speed.
It's Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy, sorry.
Yeah, I
The
will.
wrong diminutive. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's a good one though. I will reach out to Jimmy, and I'm sorry he's not able to join us tonight, but the real work is going to be starting on the 21st. But I'm hoping that people will have the time to do their meetings and reviews before the 21st. At the same time, celebrating Valentine's Day. Very serious.
Right. Okay, so we have a meeting scheduled on the 28th.
Daisy.
You want me?
No, the 21st.
The 21st,
Yes, and then I added another one at your
Yeah.
request,
the 28th.
the 28th. And then the next one is March 7th. You want me to put in for the 14th and 21st and 28th in March also?
I would, just so we've got them on the
Just
calendar.
so we've got them, yeah, okay.
because as we know, I mean, we have a lot more financial requests than we have money. So, we're going to have our reviews and then we're going to have, the squinting and this,
Right.
yeah, the squinting.
Right.
Lynn, this is Tony. What were you saying there about this Monday on the 14th? Are you guys planning on having a meeting
No.
that night?
No, I've said you're supposed to celebrate the 14th in your own way. And our next meeting is on the 21st.
Okay. We are my wife is gonna love this. We are doing a COVID home test distribution Thursday, Monday, and Thursday. So I wasn't gonna be able to be here if you guys were meeting. So
No.
but I'm sure you're about to say, don't do that, Tony.
Don't do that, Tony.
Yeah, he's gonna love it, but it's all right. Okay, thank you. That was my
All
question.
right.
Okay. I think we are dangerously close to the end of this meeting if somebody wants to make that official.
I so move.
Do I have a second for it?
Nancy seconds.
Okay. I have, by the way, been checking the chat box and I've seen nothing. So I think we're, with that second, I will, do I have to do a roll call? Yes, I do. Paul,
Yes.
Austin,
Aye.
Dave? Dave, raise your hand. Say yes.
Thank you.
Ellen,
Aye.
Nancy.
Dave's aye.
I
Okay, meeting adjourned, folks. So
All right.
happy Valentine's
everybody.
Day.
All right.
And I'll see Dave and Austin tomorrow and the rest of you in 2 weeks' time, if not before.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Good night.
Hi,
Thank
everybody.
you. Good night.